I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to play. But I do want to talk about cosplay.
Hi, I'm Chris Lujan.
And I'm BINDU.
This is the IAMs. Are you going to go off on cosplay like you did the Amish?
Yes.
Okay, please.
No. It's because I think there is something to be said about me being I'm dungeon master when it comes to nerd.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm old enough to have been there when it all came out the first time.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, video games, whatever. Michael Jordan
When
in the
did
NBA changing
Dungeons
basketball.
and Dragons come out? I remember it all of a sudden becoming aware of it in like the 4th grade maybe.
Correct. So we're talking early 80s. That's when it got big.
Okay.
Right. So yeah. So it's like I've been there and done that. I watched the high watermark of comics, right? And it created this, Hunter S. Thompson watercress mark that it has never reached.
Right.
And now all we're trying to do is relive that moment, right? Well, I was going through high school during that moment. I graduated in 1991, which is when all of the artists separated from Marvel and DC and created Image Comics, right? So it was this gigantic thing that happened, and I was there at the epicenter of all of that, right? And so all of the conventions leading up into that was great. There was this magazine called Wizard Magazine, and it was the fucking National Geographic magazine for nerds.
Did that was part of that also a pricing guide?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So you had the baseball card, the card collector people. This is pre-Magic now.
Yeah.
There's no Magic and there's no Pokemon. Not at all.
There's barely other sports besides baseball.
Correct.
They're like the random basketball cards.
Right.
Or,
So now we're getting this new way. So in 1986, shit got real. And there's 2 different authors out there that just for a moment decided, what if I wrote this silly superhero comic book for a mature adult, right? So they write, Frank Miller does The Dark Knight Returns and starts bringing in ideas like due process. And it's like, wait, what? Batman beats up the bad guy. And it's like, no, in real life, you get apprehended and then you get an attorney. If you can't afford one will be appointed to you. There's this thing called due process, right? Batman's like, fuck all that. He's just punching people and shit.
Yeah.
So they interject that idea into the comics. And so now you have this mature, how does Batman continue to be Batman?
Right.
In a world where there actually is law and order and all of that. And it's very creative how they did that. And so you take this adult turn, right? That was in 1986. Right at the same time, Black and White Comics, they're creating this underground duo is making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
And that is off of their hype that they got from this Daredevil comic. Well, the Daredevil comic was done in the early 80s by Frank Miller, who he got so good at doing the Daredevil, they moved him on to Wolverine. He did Wolverine 1 through 4 in the early 80s, where he took Wolverine's fucking mask off for the first time and made him cool as shit. He's fighting ninjas and shit, which is why I'm doing Never Not Ninjas. That blew up so big, DC was like, bro, can you please do that to Batman?
Yeah.
So now they're doing Batman, but now Frank, he's about to leave comics altogether, this silly bullshit. So he does Batman's Last Hurrah. It's fucking amazing.
That's what it's called?
Basically. It's so popular a book. They've changed the format of the comic. There's no ads. It has a hard spine. And they're advertising this in the back of Playboy magazine. Right now, back in the 80s, Playboy magazine was the shit. Right?
Yeah.
It was a gentleman's magazine. You could be a man in a bar with a Playboy magazine and a martini, and no one would look at you the wise. That would be acceptable.
There were ads for this in Playboy?
In the very back, were there ads for like Rolls Royce and Lamborghini? There was The Dark Knight Returns.
Really?
Batman for the adult, yes. All right, so that happened. Stay with me, right? at the same time, and that was the Dark Knight Returns.
But you
and
could
that's
still
what, like,
buy that in comic book shops as well, right?
there was no such thing as comic book shops, Chris Lujan.
Oh boy.
So
That's right. They were all like, you had to go to the corner store, right?
correct. So like
On
if
a
you,
fucking circular rack.
correct.
Shit.
So if you are fans of the cartoonist kayfabe, right?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Ed Piskor, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would tell you on the very bottom of the comic, if it had a barcode, you bought that motherfucker off the spinner rack. You're an OG, right?
Spinner rack.
Right. All my
Yes.
old comics got the barcode. That's what's up, y'all. Right? So like Jim Rugg, right? Tom Sholey, Jim Mafu, those dudes, they'll see my comics and be like, oh, this motherfucker. Okay. They'll know.
So you mostly, that's where you got yours at, spin rack.
Right. Right.
What there were,
So then comic book shops started.
I guess comic books, from the way I remember it, the way comic books invaded our area, it was almost like it wasn't just a comic book shop. They also had baseball cards.
Yes. They
You
had
know what
to.
I mean?
They had
it was
to.
like they had to intermingle all of those to be able to have a store.
Correct.
It wasn't just comic books.
Yeah, they couldn't be. They couldn't just survive off
It's like how
This is before miniatures.
make sure to like and subscribe and join our Discord and Patreon. Check out our links.
Now back to the show.
It's exactly how back in the day, like
This is before Warhammer.
skate shops were inside bicycle shops.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They had to.
You could there weren't very many skate shops.
Right. They had
now
to
there are.
They had to combine their forces like Voltron just in
Yeah.
order to have a shop.
Yeah.
So you had a BMX and a skate shop combined.
Schwinn City.
Straight up.
That's where I got my first board. The
Right.
Rob Roscop Santa Cruz. Yep.
Rob Roscoe.
OJ two wheels, Gullwing trucks.
Wow.
Man.
In the Atlantic shopping center?
No, it was over there by where Rayleigh's is, by DMV.
Oh,
It was over there,
right.
Schwinn
That's
City.
fucking right.
But yes, there was a bike shop there that also had like a skate,
No, you're fucking right.
a skate desk,
Mm-hmm.
basically. You know.
So, Frank Miller, in the 80s, takes boring-ass Daredevil, him and David Mazzucchelli. They take this boring-ass character, they introduce ninjas, make the shit tight. They hype up so much shit. Frank Miller has his Daredevil fighting the hand, and he got taught by Stick, right? Eastman and Laird start their own independent comic. Fucking the ooze that turned Daredevil into Daredevil goes down the sewers and turns these turtles into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
They're not fighting the hand, they're fighting the foot. Their leader's not Stick, their leader's Splinter. You feel me? They're wearing red like Daredevil. It's a whole Daredevil homage, right? A lot of people don't even fucking know that shit, right? So, the Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli, these guys will meet again later. Okay, so Frank Miller gets big. He makes fucking Wolverine hella dope. And meanwhile, the X-Men are starting to blow the fuck up. Now, in comics, right, there's a whole bunch of different writers and a whole bunch of different artists. But in the X-Men, from 1975 to 1991, when I graduated, same writer. So
The X-Men.
the X-Men. So it was a completely and totally different shit. They were the anchor of Marvel, right? And so they started getting these new artists in the X family. Jim Lee, you saw that fucking jeans commercial for Rob Liefeld in the 501s. He's the one that created Deadpool, right? That's the first Deadpool figure I bought when I was 19 off the shelf, motherfucker. When I was working at Target stocking the shelves. This might be worth something.
He's an OG.
Right? So while this Batman comic comes out, comic shops start. Now there's a buzz happening, right? At the same time, and keep in mind, when this Batman comic comes out, it's still coming out like a comic. There's no such thing as graphic novel is what I'm getting at.
Right.
So number one comes out, and the motherfucker has to wait 90 days or some such. Because it's not a regular comic. So
Right.
does it come out next month? Who knows, true believer. It's not same bat time, same bat channel, not this time. Right?
Perfect.
So by the time you fucking get the fourth one, and it's all built up, right? Spoilers, well, whatever. The Dark Knight Returns. It's the greatest Batman story ever, right?
Sure.
This other guy, Alan Moore, he's been doing these fucking crazy ass stories. Miracle Man, you guys got to look that up. his fucking Swamp Things. I know that sounds fucking ridiculous for me to say, but it's amazing work, right? He comes out with a comic called The Watchmen.
Yeah, now I know why you brought these out. Duh.
Now, everybody
What a long route.
goes to their store and they pick up their Watchmen.
Uh-huh.
But when I bought the motherfuckers, they were comic books. And it was 12 of these motherfuckers. And you had to wait. And each one ended on a cliffhanger. And you were like, oh my God, what the fuck? It was the craziest cock tease. In the last couple of months, the last couple of episodes took a long time. So it was like, holy fuck, right? Frank Miller and Alan Moore flipped the game. It made this weird, what if adults could still buy comic books and not be ashamed to get comic books, right?
Okay.
And some weirdness happened. And now adults are realizing they don't want to let go of Spider-Man, right?
Right.
We got to make them dark and gritty, just like they did with Batman, just like they did with the Watchmen characters. And they started taking their superheroes with them. My generation included. I watch it happen.
Right. I mean, we just watched an episode of Seinfeld. You see the Superman stuff all over the place.
Correct. But that shit is for children, right?
Yeah.
The only superhero that you can continue to enjoy into adulthood is Batman. Because Batman's crazy. And he raises little armies with little children. So as you grow up and you have children, you can have your own little Robin. You never have to grow up. Okay, anyways. Am I boring you?
No, don't mind me.
So, as I'm...
You've never yawned before?
No, I get it, man.
Not in someone's face,
No,
bitch.
but I've been getting you pretty high.
You have been.
I got that powerful.
I'm good.
I got that
I'm just
good.
wondering how this... I know what we're talking about. Do you remember what we're talking about? So I'm wondering how this is all going to wrap around to that.
As the comic shops grew in popularity because of this, all these fucking comic creators are realizing now, holy shit, we can make everything dark and gritty. As all of that starts to happen, comic conventions start getting popular. Because now we have fucking Jim Lee. We have Mark Silvestri. We can go meet these guys.
Yeah.
Right? Bernie Wrightson's going to be there. Right? So now these conventions, they're starting to get like, whoa, Alex Ross, the guy that paints the shit all perfect, right? It's now, and we're in San Francisco Bay Area, so I was going to WonderCon that was at the Marriott off 12th in Oakland. So you could take the BART right there. That's where I started getting close with Jim Mahfood and all of that, meeting him when he's drawing.
So this is post high school.
This is no. During high school.
Oh, during high school.
During high school, and then I graduated, and then a couple of years after. That's when Jim Mahfood comes into it. But I'm in the game for a long time, right? So now the comic conventions are getting bigger, and because Batman is getting bigger and all of that, this is 86, buzz gets so goddamn big. And here's something about comics, right? So Batman got so big, it created the movie. That movie, Batman 89, changed Hollywood and changed conventions and started cosplay. But we'll get back to that.
So this is the first Keaton Batman?
Correct.
Okay.
So there's been no Batman since 66, Adam West. The only Batman that's actually 6'2", 210. The only Batman that's actually the size of Batman. The only Batman that puts on just the fucking tights and fucking looks like Batman, convincing you're Batman, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so you can see the eventual come up. Frank Miller and Alan Moore started making comics for adults, but that wasn't their intention. They were just like, what if we do it? They did it, and then they stopped.
Okay.
But the nerds couldn't let it go. And the money spoke. And so now there's a buzz. Now the thing to do is to go to the convention, right? And it slowly started going from people that are slightly dressing up to way too, what the fuck are you doing now? Right? I'm Galactus and I'm 1/1 scale.
Yeah, plastic surgery level
Dude.
shit.
And my cousin, he's all about that. Him and his wife are all about that fucking cosplay life. And the more I started all right. So I'm the guy that loves that shit. I love making the costumes and no one does it better than me.
Right.
I'm dope. Right? So I made my Freddy Krueger glove. This is steel. I made this when I was 14.
Yeah.
Like, I go all in.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm talking shit about cosplay, but I have a stainless steel Dr. Doom mask.
True.
A wearable.
Yes.
Right? It's a weapon. Right? I have the actual screen accurate Batman shit, and I don't fuck around. Right? But you know what that's for? A special day called Halloween. Halloween is great.
So do you wear those on Halloween?
I wear them when I have sex.
So do you wear these on Halloween?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Halloween, the one time a year when you have sex. No, so the picture of you in high school or at a paint night dressed as Batman, the one you have it side by side. You have Adam West and you.
Yeah.
Is that with that mask?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So
I did a whole paint night for 80 people.
Yeah.
Dressed as Adam West in the tights.
Did you act like that?
Absolutely.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I did.
Not the whole time.
Not the whole time, but most of the time.
Yeah, okay.
All the instructions. Oh, dear God. Yeah, Adam West. Adam West.
All right. Mm-hmm.
So what happened was people started, right about 99, 98, 99. That's when we knew strippers in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they started getting offers to come dress up as the new Image characters, right? There was not Wonder Woman, but almost Wonder Woman.
They could have thought of a better name than that.
Right. Well, it's like Voodoo from the Wildcats.
Sure.
And blah, 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 right? It goes on, right? So now you have photographers and shit going to the conventions just to take pictures of the sexy strippers dressed like Wonder Woman, right? And now it's becoming less about me getting to meet Mark Silvestri and Bernie Wrightson, and it's more about the girl dressed like Voodoo, right?
Yeah.
And then the Star Wars bullshit starts with the Slave Leias. Every woman wants to be Slave Leia. Slave Leia barely has clothes on.
Right.
Most of these comic nerds are not very hygienic, out of shape, and you get a whole bunch of those rapacious swamp sows stuck together in a fucking closed off environment, and the stench is unlike anything you've ever heard. You know what I mean? It's like fucking Dark Souls in there at Blighttown or the fucking depths. Fucking horrible gaping dragon smell. Fucking gross. Oh God. But when you're trying, so now, oh dear God, Catwoman, right? So you got, now you're correct. Now the conventions, just to go from booth to booth to look at merch, to pick up a fucking Japanese robot from the 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
Now you're corralled. You can barely move. Oh, we're going by the slave land table. Oh my God. And then for the next 35 minutes, it's terrible. And as a professional, people have to pay me to see me perform and act silly.
Yeah.
You are a professional. People have to pay you to see you play music.
Right.
And you play so well, you know?
Thank you.
Cosplayers don't get paid. They're just like, look at me, look at me. And it's this whole look at me thing that it makes me mad. Because they're dressing up like Coke. And you're like, oh, I like Coke. And you go up to get a drink of Coke and they're Tab. They're not really Coke. You fuckers. You're not really Daredevil, motherfucker.
You hate it because you see it that they're wearing a costume.
I hate it because
they
go all out to say, look at me, look at me, look at me, right. But it's not Halloween.
And there's nothing on the inside. This is how I'm seeing you mean that they're wearing a costume. Look at me, look at me, look at me.
Look at me.
Underneath the costume, there's nothing. And you're look at me, look at me, look at me. But on the inside, you're also look at me, look at me, look at me.
Yeah. No, okay, so now...
Did I make any sense at all?
You did to me.
Okay.
Okay, so now a lot of these cosplayers...
If you could just reach one person.
These cosplayers, they don't know the lore. Mm-hmm. They don't know the artists. Right. They don't know the comics, but they're dressing up.
They know the character.
Right, but they're picture perfect Death Strike or whatever. Get the fuck out of here, you stupid
You could be
bastard.
making up words, Death Strike. You could be making up shit and I would not know.
Right, and it wouldn't matter because it's all fucking goofy. So the cosplayers, the look at me's took over the conventions. And it's like, why do you go so far out of your way to do that, right? Well, but then they're like, well, I'm making money. You're making money as a fucking fake Captain America? Shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of here with their dumb bullshit. Dress up for Halloween. So this is when I really started getting mad. My daughter now is 14. She's gorgeous. She's blonde haired.
Tell them about your daughter.
She's going to Fanime in San Jose, right? And I'm all excited for her, and I'm helping her with her cosplay shit. And I go to drop her off there, and there's grown-ass fucking men dressed up in their cosplay to go prey on the young, dressed up in their cosplay. And that's when I start to realize, whoa, this is very sinister as shit.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is sinister as shit. This is like when I would take my daughter.
You saw them as predators. That's
correct,
where
that's
we're at,
exactly
right?
what they did, except they're wearing masks. And not only are they wearing masks, right? They're wearing what they think the girls are gonna like.
Right.
And now it's this evil fucking thing, right? It's like when I took my daughter to the midnight showing of the Harry Potter films, and we're in line, it's midnight, and there's adults in line.
Yeah.
And they're talking about what they want to do to Hermione. As I'm in line.
Paul
And
Rubens.
they're talking about what they want to do to Hermione.
You know what I'm saying? And I got pulled out. And I'm like, fuck Harry Potter. I hate this shit. I hate this shit.
Our producer just got back. I had to let him in. But I knew where you were headed with all
So
of
that's why first of all, I started hating what the cosplayers were doing to the conventions. Then I started thinking about the philosophy of a cosplayer. Look at me, look at me.
Right.
Right? Why? What the fuck is wrong with you? Right? I say look at me to make money, motherfucker. I'm putting kids through college.
But when
You know what I'm saying?
But when you were...
You're saying look at me because you're playing a musical instrument and you have a wife to talk to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fucking around playing a musical instrument on the corner. I've got gigs. I'm on TV.
Yeah.
I'm playing music. I'm making records, right? Look at me. I'm a
make
professional,
records.
right? But when you're dressed up like Deadpool for no fucking reason, look at me and you have the perfect costume and all of that, you have to start questioning psychologically, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
What the fuck? When I wear my silly Batman costume, right? I'm with Penthouse Pet Matty O'Reilly walking around somewhere with you like paparazzi and shit, right? Why are you dressed like Batman, you fucking weirdo? I hate cosplayers.
So have you ever, don't lie to me, have you ever gone to a convention in any sort of costume, even if it was minimal?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I went before it was a word called cosplay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
As?
No, I just went with Freddy Krueger outfit on.
Okay.
With no makeup, though.
Right.
I had the sweater.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
And I had the glove.
Even if it was in a minimal way, yes.
But the glove wasn't a prop.
Was it this glove?
It was a stainless steel, I'll fucking kill you with this thing.
Uh-huh.
I made it myself.
Right.
And so I love making costumes for Halloween. Go all out on Halloween. The reason why I got close with the whole David Show, his little ensemble
gang,
yeah, is because he had a really fun podcast, and he did a contest, and there was a relief for the Philippines, the floods that they had in the Philippines, and he did this illustration of a girl with a dragon mask on, right? And he was like, recreate that, and I'll pick 3 winners.
Yeah.
And so I turned it into a mask.
So that's why you did that? Because it was part of a contest?
Right.
Okay.
And I came in second. The first person made a mask, not as good as my mask, but they made a whole fucking video. And so the girl's like walking through town, riding the train with music.
I gotcha.
And I was like, okay, you win, bitch. But my mask was flawless.
Yeah.
Right? And my daughter's wearing it and all of that. So I get making the costumes. I love making the costumes. I love all of that, the camaraderie. But there's always someone that takes it too far, right? You get a tattoo, awesome. You get tattooed all the way up to your face, and now you're tattooing the whites on your eyes. You're overdoing it, man. And cosplay did that a long time ago. And I hate them. I fucking hate them. And their whole mentality of look at me, the narcissism because I'm getting away from all of that.
Right.
There's a time.
That's why it surprises me that this is the reason that you don't like them.
There's a time when to turn it on and when to turn it off. And there's just too many of them. I have some friends and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
But they cannot go anywhere. They can't go to a movie premiere without dressing up as the theme of what's happening in that film.
Yeah.
They're slaves to it now. They're slaves to the Cos slaves. It's ridiculous.
Cosplay.
It's the stupidest shit in the world.
That could be the title, but I don't think anyone would know. They would click on it going, what the fuck's
Fuck, man. You can't just watch Boba Fett. You got to dress up like Boba Fett.
Oh, now we got to have the video of me with the glass. Just it never ends.
Well, okay. We get high as fuck in BINDU Studios. This guy, it doesn't work like that, bro. It doesn't work like that. Oh my God.
Well, I know who Boba Fett
going.
is, man. I know who Boba Fett is because I was a young kid when action figures came out for the first time. And if you collected the proofs of purchase, you could mail away and you could get this new action figure called Boba Fett that came out 2 years before the fucking movie.
Right.
So
I think you should talk about, fully explain this because you talked to me about it, but I think it...
Do you want to change
Well, all I'm
places?
saying, all I'm saying is when I talk about Boba Fett, I was the kid that had to wait the 6 weeks for the fucking toy to come in. Then I got the toy. I had to explain it to everybody. And then you had to wait a year for the fucking movie to come out. And when the movie came out, Boba Fett took Frozen Han Solo and bounced. He shot at Luke. No one got it here tight, right? That Star Wars special came out, which was amazing, and everyone hates it, but they're stupid because they weren't there. I watched it on fucking TV. Fuck you. It was awesome. And that's where they show you how to play with your toy, Boba Fett. Boba Fett was awesome, right?
How to play with your toy.
Right. I'm 7.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Right? So I love Boba Fett, right? But now people like Boba Fett, or they did until the show came out, but they like Boba Fett because of people like me talking about how cool it was. Because I was actually there.
Yeah.
So if I dress up like Boba Fett, that shit means something to me. When I went to a convention, I dressed my son up like Boba Fett. He wanted to be Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So I got a Stormtrooper helmet and filed it and sanded it and painted it and did the whole thing. And I brought him to the convention and everyone liked it. They were taking pictures of him and he felt special. And it was awesome. My daughter was dressed up like Robin and it was great. It was fun, right? And then that was when we started realizing, whoa, that was the convention where we got stuck next to the slave Leias. And it was like this repugnant, sour human filth smell. Oh, it was, oh my God, just thinking about it, man. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah. And I was like looking at my kids because they were all like excited and dressed up like it was Halloween.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, conventions are great. And then now the Cos slaves have ruined
it happened in like an instant to you.
Because I remember the grandeur days when it was just so awesome. And the cosplayers specifically ruined it. And now there's a convention every goddamn week.
When's the last time you went to a convention?
I went with my buddy Booze to a little Concord one months ago. And right, see that face you made?
Yeah.
They had like 4 or 5 real R2-D2s rolling around. Those things are like $60,000. They're just driving around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well.
But I mean.
Yeah, but people are dressed up. Look at me.
But that's a small that's like a local convention. Because I've been to that one a couple times.
Right. So WonderCon that used to be in San Francisco was the big shit. And then you had San Diego Comic-Con down south.
Yeah.
And that was everyone around the world flocked to those, right?
Right.
Well, Northern California lost their fucking balls and their soul and their heart. And they gave away WonderCon. And now WonderCon's in LA. And Comic-Con's in San Diego. They're right next to each other.
Oh, okay.
Assholes. So I quit going. Fuck them. Plus, fuck
So
the
when was the
cosplay.
last time you went to a convention?
I don't even fucking know.
All right, then.
The last, the last convention I went to was a smaller independent one right around the Walking Dead times. And I brought my kids there. And they got to meet Daryl. And who's the Asian dude that got...
I never watched Walking Dead.
The Asian guy, Glenn, who got like... Yeah, Glenn. Yeah, Glenn and Daryl, right?
Okay.
So me and my kids ran into Glenn and Daryl outside of the convention during their lunch break. at a fucking crosswalk at the street. And Daryl's like smoking a cigarette, and he saw my kids, and they're looking at him with stars in their eyes. They, like, we're watching the show every week, and here this motherfucker is right now, right? And he like hid the cigarette. And I just thought, I love this dude, right? And I go, kids, these guys are on their breaks. We don't bother them right now, right? And they just kind of relaxed, and they went on their way, right?
Yeah.
Later on in that convention, they recognized my kids, and they made them bypass a line of like 400 people. And they took pictures and all that type of shit. It was really fucking cool. That was the last convention I was in, and I felt like that was a good way to end it. It's never going to get better than that. I'll never go back, because the dudes, the furries that are 40 fucking plus years old, right? The 37-year-old dude dressing like Venger from fucking D&D so he can swoop on new sexy Velma. Get the fuck out of here, man.
So to boil this all down,
I hate cosplayers.
it's because now you see them as predators.
Yeah,
Basically.
not only that, but the girls fucked it up too. Now they're sexy Snow White. Fuck off.
But that's Halloween in general, right?
Yeah, but they're doing it at the conventions. So where do the little kids go when little kids want to go buy Wonder Woman shit? When I went to conventions, they didn't have Wonder Woman in slave outfits.
So you were talking about how Frank Miller made like
Take that back. Yeah, they did.
You were talking about how Frank Miller made the first like adult comic, right? But so was there a time when that drug all comics not for kids anymore? Are comics for kids now?
That is a great question. The answer is no. No. The stingy fucking generation took it with them. And you can tell because there's deep lore in this art, right? But there's also surface dwellers, and the surface dwellers become all about it.
Yeah.
So all the Snyderverse people, they don't know the lore, man. So they love that shit. They're all about Snyderverse, but they can't sit down at a table with me and have coffee. I'll clown the fucking shit out of them about all of it, right?
Is there coffee, by the way?
Oh yeah, I'll make some. I didn't make it because you guys were eating Mexican food.
Oh.
Now, this is what I want to talk to you about cosplay.
Yes.
So all of right now in the movie theaters and on streaming, superheroes no matter what.
Yeah, that's big money.
It all comes from The Dark Knight Returns, my tattoo,
Yes.
and The Watchmen. And when he wasn't doing The Watchmen, he did this one side-off Batman story called The Killing Joke. It's a one-shot, and it's the best Batman Joker story ever, but it's fucked up, very adult.
All right.
I mean, it's just,
Where does Arkham Asylum fit
it's
into all
extremely
of
fucked
this?
up. It's about a year and a half after all that.
Oh, okay.
Right, so it was like from 86 to 90, it was banger after banger after banger after banger after banger, and then the movies and the cartoons took over, and that's when Image formed and all the great talent left and never came back. So anyways, in The Watchmen, Dave Gibbons draws this, and he's a master artist, okay? Now, in this comic, it's a whole bunch of superheroes that resemble other superheroes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Right. So Dave Gibbons draws all the superheroes slightly goofy looking. The Night Owl he's supposed to be the Batman, but he's not really, right?
Yeah.
The only character that looks cool is Rorschach. But when they describe Rorschach, he stinks because he's a fucking bum. He's a smelly, degenerate, transient, homeless person that carries signs all day. He fucking eats bugs and shit.
Yeah.
Right? Creepy Oogie Boogie guy. Right? So Alan Moore was really trying to explain to people that costumes are fucking dumb. They're dumb. Right? And the only superhero in The Watchmen is Dr. Manhattan. And you know what costume he wears, Chris Lamar?
He's butt-ass naked.
With his dick swinging in the wind.
Absolutely.
If you have power, you don't give a fuck, right? And that is the point, right? But this comic, everyone fell in love with it, right? And everyone cosplays.
Yeah.
And they all dress up in costumes, not understanding what he was saying. Your costumes are stupid, you fucking assholes. If you really had power, you'd be naked, floating around all blue like a god. You dumb bitch, wearing your stupid fucking cosplay outfit. Fuck off and wait for Halloween. I hate cosplayers, man. They're just like the Amish.
He really knows how to end an episode, doesn't he?
Bam!
It went on and around, but I think like
Came back in the end.
yeah.